Good morning, America. Today is Wednesday, April the 18th. It is 8:34 a.m. I'm going to start off with some sound sayings. And it's coming from Proverbs 3, verse 6. And it says, "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path." The back of it is coming from Revelations 3, verse 5, and it says, "He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life. He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I shall not blot out his name out of the book of life." That is coming from Revelations 3, 5. Return this. And we were still on the section C of visitation upon the people. We read about Marion and Aaron, which was in Numbers 12, the Israelites in Numbers 11, Balaam in Numbers 22, Moses in Deuteronomy 4, Isaiah and Deuteronomy 9. We will be reading that today, I believe. I'm sorry, we'll be reading wicked cities in Deuteronomy 29. I am just going to, we read Deuteronomy 9 with the last reading, and it spoke about Aaron also being punished for his sins. And when Moses went up to the mountain for the 40 days and 40 nights, he left Aaron to shepherd the sheep while he was gone. Unfortunately, Aaron was somewhat of a weak leader, and therefore the people were able to do the abomination that they did commit. They made a calf out of all the gold that they had collected from the Egyptians. So Aaron was due to be killed by God, but Moses interceded on his brother's behalf. So in Deuteronomy 9:20, I'm just going to step back there a little bit and read it to you. It says here, "And the Lord was very angry with Aaron to have destroyed him. And I prayed for Aaron also the same time as he prayed for the people each time the people provoked God." So he prayed for his brother, and before that he prayed for his sister because she was the one who was given the leprosy for bad-mouthing her brother Moses. So because she was doing most of the talking, she was the one that was punished. I believe Aaron was just there listening to her. I don't think he really contributed to speaking ill of her, but he listened to her. And sometimes when you sit there and you listen to a person bad-mouthing another and you do not reprimand that individual, you are just as guilty as the person who's speaking the ill words. But if you're just listening, it doesn't excuse you from correcting the individual. But this is what happened in this case, and this is why his sister was duly reprimanded by God. Now we're going to talk about the wicked cities. Even today we have cities that are extremely wicked. When you go there, all kinds of mayhem is going on there. And some of these cities may look exciting to the people that visit there. Las Vegas is one of those wicked cities. And when you go there with all the lights and action and all the activities that are going there, much wickedness does occur in the city of Las Vegas, along with California, New York, Florida. These are some of the cities that are well known for being wicked. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about the wicked cities in the biblical times in Deuteronomy 29. And as usual, we will be using the parallel Bible as well to help us to better understand that which is being read to us. And if I can just situate myself a little bit here, we can get started. In Deuteronomy 29, it has 29 verses. The colors here are gold for prophecy, pink for witnessing. We have a significant amount of gold here. We have red for discipleship. We also have a sufficient amount of brown for sin. We have black. Brown is for Satan. Black is for sin. And it ends off with purple. One verse of purple, which is verse 29. 23. Oh, I see it. Okay. So let's begin. In Deuteronomy 29, the people are exhorted to renew their covenant with God. Exhort means to encourage. They are exhorted to renew their covenant with God. I exhort you to renew your relationship with God. And this is what the entire chapter is all about. So let's begin. Verse 1, which is gold for prophecy. These are the words of the covenant, which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. Okay, Horeb. Let's read it from here. These are the words of the covenant which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. Okay. 2, 3, 4, and 5. We do have a few verses I failed to mention to you that are in bold letterings. That will be verse 5 and verse 6. Just those two verses. Verse 2. And Moses called unto all Israel and said unto them, Ye have seen all that the Lord did before your eyes in the land of Egypt unto Pharaoh, and unto all his servants, and unto his land. He is saying to him, to the people, you have witnessed what God has done to Pharaoh, to his land, to his property, to his servants, to his family. Okay, we're going to do verse by verse. Verse 2 here says, And Moses called unto all Israel and said unto them, Ye have seen all that the Lord did before your eyes in the land of Egypt, unto Pharaoh, and unto all his servants, and unto all his land. Verse 2, still pink. Verse 3, still pink. The great temptations which thy eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. The great temptation which thy eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. The great temptations which thy eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. Very well written. 5. Yet the Lord has not given you a heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day. Yet the Lord had not given you a heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day. Verse 4. Yet the Lord has not given you a heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day. Perfect. 5, here comes that uppercase lettering I was speaking of. And it says, And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. So they've been there for that long now. And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes were not waxen old upon you, and thy shoes is not waxen old upon thy feet. That is verse 6. We're going to follow it up. Ye have not eaten bread, neither have ye drank wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am the Lord your God. Ye have not eaten bread, neither have ye drank wine or strong drink, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God. All of that was all uppercase lettering. Let's take it from here, 5 and 6. And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxing old upon you, and thy shoes is not waxing old upon thy feet. 6. Ye have not eaten bread, neither have ye drank wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am the Lord your God. Okay? 7 and 8 is also pink for witnessing, and I'm going to read that back to back. And when ye came into this place, Sihon the king of Heshbon and Og the king of Bashan came out against us unto battle, and we smote them. That means we killed them. 8. And we took their land and gave it for an inheritance unto the Reubenites and to the Gadites and to half the tribe of Manasseh. We'll read it from here. And when ye came unto this place, Sihon the king of Heshbon and Og the king of Bashan came out against us unto battle, and we smote them. 8. And we took their land and gave it for an inheritance unto the Reubenites and to the Gadites and to half the tribe of Manasseh. So the city was divided for these 3 tribes. All right. Red 9 is the only red verse of these 29 verses. Keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. Keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them. Don't just read them, follow them and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. In anything that you go after you may prosper, you may be successful in all that you try to accomplish. 9 here. Keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. Very well. 10 to 15 is go for prophecy. I will read that straight away. Ye stand this day, all of you, before the Lord your God, your captains of your tribe, your elders and your officers, with all the men of Israel. 11. Your little ones, your wives, and thy strangers that is in thy camp, from the hever of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water. 12. That thou shouldest enter into covenant with the Lord thy God, and into his oath which the Lord thy God maketh with thee this day. 13. That ye may establish thee today for a people unto him, and that he may be unto thee a God, as he has said unto thee, and as he has sworn unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. 14. Neither with you only do I make this covenant with this oath, neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath. 15. But with him that standeth here with us this day before the Lord our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day, that replies to our Lord Jesus Christ. 10 to 15 from here. Ye stand this day, all of you, before the Lord your God, your captains of your tribe, your elders and your officers, with all the men of Israel. 11. Your little ones, your wives, and thy strangers that is in thy camp, from the... let me take it from here. I was reading the wrong thing. Let me take it from... I will take it from 1 up to 15 from this book. Okay? These are the terms of the covenant the Lord commanded Moses to make with Israel in Moab, in addition to the covenant he had made with them at Horeb. 2. Moses submitted all the Israelites and said to them, your eyes have seen all that the Lord did in Egypt to Pharaoh, to all his officers, and to all his land. 3. With your own eyes you saw those great tribes, those miracles, signs, and great wonders. 4. But to this day the Lord has not given you a mind that understand, or eyes that see, or ears that hear. 5. During the 40 years that I led you through the desert, your clothes did not wear out, nor did the sandals on your feet. 6. You ate no bread and drank no wine or other fermented drink. I did this so that you might know that I am the Lord your God. 7. When you reached this place, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, came out to fight against us, but we defeated him. 8. We took their land and gave it to an inheritance to the Reubenites and Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh. 9. Carefully follow the terms of this covenant so that you may prosper in everything you do. 10. All of you are standing today in the presence of the Lord your God, your leaders and chief men, your elders and officers, and all the other men of Israel. We're playing catch up. 11. Together with your children and your wives and the aliens living in your camps who chop your wood and carry your water. So in those days, the strangers, this would be their particular job, to carry the waters from the well and to chop the wood for the fire. Okay, 12. You are standing here in order to enter into a covenant with the Lord your God. A covenant the Lord is making with you this day and sealing with an oath. 13. To confirm you this day as his people, that he may be your God, as he promised you and as he swore to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. 14. I am making this covenant with its oath, not only with you, 15, who are standing here with us today in the presence of the Lord our God, but also with those who are not here today. All right, 16 starts the brown verses for Satan. Pay attention. 16, but ye know how we have dwelled in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by. When they left Egypt, they walked through the land of many nations, and some of those nations were hospitable to them, and others were not. 17. And ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them, which they still have today. 18. Lest there shall be among you men or women or family or tribe whose heart turn away this day from the Lord our God to go and serve the gods of these nations. Lest there shall be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. 19. And it shall come to pass, when he heareth the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I should have peace though I walk in the imaginations of my heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. All right, so let's take 16 and 17 from this New International. You yourselves know how we lived in Egypt and how we passed through the countries on the way there. 17. You saw among them their detestable images and idols of stone and of wood and stone, of silver and gold. 18. Make sure there is no man or woman, clan or tribe among you today whose heart turns away from the Lord our God to go and worship the gods of these nations. Make sure there is no root among you that produces such bitter poison. So the abominations of the people that they passed through was considered bitter portion if you began to follow them, if you forsake the God of Israel who rescued you out of Egypt, and you're passing by these other strange countries and you're starting to adapt and mimic the behavior and customs of the people that you pass through. Okay, if you begin to do this, you will begin to take part in the bitter poison that they are accustomed to doing. Okay, to the people of God, those customs, those cultures, those rituals, those idols that they follow is considered bitter poison. Bitter poison. Let me read that one more time. starting from here, 18. Lest there be among you men or woman or family or tribe whose heart turneth away this day from the Lord our God to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there shall be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. Okay, let's read it from here. Make sure there is no man or woman, clan or tribe among you today whose heart turn away from the Lord our God to go and worship the gods of these nations. Make sure there is no root among you that produces such bitter poison. Okay, so their practices in the eyes of our God was bitter poison. And here it is called gall and wormwood. All right. 19. I will read it from here again. And it came to pass when he heareth the words of this curse, that he blessed himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my heart to add drunkenness to thirst. Let's read 19 from here. When such a person hears the words of this oath, he invokes a blessing on himself, and therefore thinks, I will be safe, even though I persist in going my own way. This will bring disaster in the water land as well as dry. Okay? All right. We got a problem here. I will read it again from here. Okay? 19, it says, it came to pass when he hearkened the words of this curse, that he blessed himself in his heart, saying, I should have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my heart to add drunkenness to thirst. Let's read it again from 19. When such a person hears the words of this oath, he invokes a blessing on himself, and therefore think, I will be safe, which I will be safe, it applies to I shall have peace. Okay? Even though I persist in going my own way, though I walk in the imagination of my heart. Though I walk in the imagination of my heart, translation. Even though I persist in going my own way. That's what that means. This will bring disaster on the watered land as well as dry. That is not what it says. It says to add drunkenness to thirst. Okay. One verse, one issue. So far. Let's continue. 20 and 21 are black for sin. The Lord will not spare him, but then the anger of the Lord and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that were written in this book shall lie upon him, and the Lord shall blot out his name from under the heaven. 20. The Lord will never be willing to forgive him. This wrath and zeal will burn against that man. All the curses written in this book shall fall upon him, and the Lord shall blot out his name from under the heaven. Okay. So if you're the type of individual, when you see your loved ones going astray, doing such abominations, such as changing their sexes, and you do not reprimand them, and you do not remind them of the covenant of the God that you worship. If you're the type of individual that you will forsake God so that you will have your son or daughter bring in their same-sex couple to reside at your house, you have forsaken the God that you worship for the son or daughter that you have. Absolutely not. That is an abomination. That bitter water will fall upon you as well. You will become motherless. Okay? Because I have seen it. I have heard it with my own ears. That is my son. That is my daughter. I don't care what they do. I will support them. I will do this for them. I will do that for them. Even if what they do is against the laws of my God. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Why? Because you're supposed to love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. And if you love God above all, you are not going to take in the abominations of this world under the roof that your God, our God, has blessed thee with. And if you will not reprimand your children, then God will have his way with them. And oftentimes when it does happen this way, America, your children end up in coffins. Because you allow them to think that they could do their own thing, follow behind what the world is doing, and not be punished by God. It's ludicrous. If you love the God you worship, you will try to steer your children, your young ones, your family members, your friend, the right direction. Even if what you're saying to them is something they will not receive, you ought to speak it anyway. Because if you don't, as a servant of the Lord, you will be held liable if you speak no words to them regarding their actions, their words, their behavior, their attitude. You both will pay. Your son or daughter will hit the coffin and you will hit Sorrow Avenue. Think about it. Okay, let's read that again. 20. The Lord will not spare him. You may spare them. You may say, I'm all right with this. The world may spare them. But God will not. The Lord will not spare him, but then the anger of the Lord and his jealousy shall smoke him against that man, and all the curses that were written in this book shall lie upon him, and the Lord shall blot out his name from under heaven. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? 20. I will read it again from here. The Lord will never be willing to forgive him. His wrath with zeal will burn against that man. All the curses written in this book will fall upon him, and the Lord will blot out his name from under heaven. Okay, because we are only here, America, for a short while. And if we should be blessed to receive more than 70 years, that's an extra blessing. Only the Lord can keep you here that long. Okay, but he can take you out in an instant. Wouldn't you rather the Lord hear your prayers and respond to them immediately regarding your family than for him to hear your prayers and ignore them and have his way with your son or your daughter? And the Lord shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law. He will separate that individual. All right, 21. I'll read 20 again because it's worth reading it again. All right. The Lord will never be willing to forgive him. His wrath and zeal will burn against that man or woman. All the curses written in this book will fall upon him, and the Lord will blot out his name from heaven, from under heaven. See, because we are only here for a little while, we do meet each other again in the afterlife. And there are only two destinations, America. I've told you that before. And they both begin with H. The preferred one is heaven. The least preferred is hell. So if you have done your job right, you will meet each other again in the designated place called heaven. Okay? Because once they get to hell, They cannot cross over like they do here on earth. You cross from one river to the next. You cross from one block to the next. But when you get to hell, there is no crossing over. That's your eternity. Did you hear me? There is no crossing over. That is their eternity or yours. All right. 21. The Lord will single him out from all the tribes of Israel for disaster. For disaster. According to all the curses of the covenant written in this book of the law. We just had a hurricane. We just had the Lord walk through our city. Okay? Let me tell you what the ones did who were spared. Though they were afraid, though they tried to hide, a man was going into his bunker and he was trying to close the door. Well, the Lord snatched the door from him. Okay? He continued down in the bunker. He sat down on his bottom. And what did that man do? He began to pray. He began to pray. Okay? When that man walked outside his door, from his house on down, it was destruction. The only thing that was missing from his house was that door he tried to close. His roof was intact. The trees were still standing on his property. There was nothing wrong. Why? Because he prayed. So when the anchor woman asked him, what do you think happened here? What did he say? The Lord was on my side. The Lord was on me. He had his hands on me. The Lord can have his hand on you even in the midst, in the eye of a tornado, and not a shingle will be removed from your house. That is the mighty God of Israel. But if you know him not, you speak to him not, you reverend him not, that tree will fall upon you. But if you reverend him, the tree may fall upon you, but you will walk out of that house in one piece, as my elder did. And when she got in front of the camera, she said the same thing. My God had his hands upon me. But there were more victims in which the only thing that they could thank God for was their life. The property they did not have. Some man couldn't even find his roof. If he looked south, east, west, north, the roof was nowhere to be found. But those that know God were spared. Okay? And he can be a merciful God, America. Because as horrendous as that tornado was, it only left physical destruction and took one life. One. It might have affected many, but he only took one life. That's the mercy of God. So if he took your house, he didn't take your life. You still have a lot to praise him for. Back in the day, before all this modern technology, before all these civil laws that man has created, the people of the land will work together. You would invite a stranger into your home and give them food and drink. But today, in order for us as a people on the land to work together, we must go through a disaster. Why does it take a disaster to bring us together? 20, 23, and 24 is pink for witnessing. So that the generations to come of your children shall rise up after you, and the stranger that should come from far land shall say, when they see the plagues of that land and the sicknesses which the Lord has laid upon it. 23. And that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning, that it is not sown nor nor beareth, nor any grass grown therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admon and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. And just last year, we had 30 to 33 tornadoes. All of them went around Greensboro. All of them. For some reason, my Lord left destruction on the east side of town. But he showed them mercy because he only took what? One life. 24. Even all nations shall say, wherefore has the Lord done this unto this land? Which meaneth the heat of this great anger. And if the Lord does not want you harmed, he can knock down a 100-year-old tree. And though that tree be surrounded with little tiny houses, that tree will not fall upon any of them. Any. Watch your news and you will see that tree. It didn't fall upon any of them small houses. It fell where there was no house. Okay, let's read it here, 22 to 24. Your children shall follow you in later generations, and foreigners who come from distant land will see the calamity that has fallen on the land and the disease with which the Lord has afflicted it. 23. The whole land will be a burning waste of salt and sulfur, nothing planted, nothing sprouting, no vegetation growing on it. It will be like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Ammon and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in fierce anger. So we are quite fortunate that he took a short walk. A short walk. "24. All the nations will ask, why has the Lord done this to this land? Why this fierce burning anger?" Do you think any of those people thought of that? No. Only those who spoke of the Lord thought of it. All right, 25. We're back to Brown again in 26. Then men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of the Lord, God of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. 26. For they went and served other gods, and worshipped them, gods whom they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them. All right, let's take it from here. 25 and 26. And the answer will be, it is because this people abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of their fathers, the covenant he made with them when he brought them out of Egypt. 26. They went off and worshipped other gods and bowed down to them, gods they did not know, gods he had not given them. So like I said to you, this is the same God, America. It is the same entity. He operates the same way as he did in the biblical time. When he has had enough, he does his thing. Let it be that you are in his saving grace. Let it be. 27 and 28 is black for sin. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against this land to bring upon it all the curses that were written in this book. 28. And the Lord rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land as it is this day. Reading it from here, 27 and 28. Get a little closer. Therefore the Lord angered and burned against this land, so that he brought on it all the curses written in this book. 28. In furious anger and with great wrath, the Lord uprooted them from their land and thrust them into another land, as it is now, as he has done recently. Okay, so it does not pay to ignore the covenants of our God. It does not pay to be solely concerned about the civil laws man makes, because there are a set of laws given unto us that are way more important than any civil law made by man. And those are the covenants given unto us by Moses long ago. And as long as we continue to abide in our wicked imaginary ways, more and more destruction will come upon this land. Literally, continuously, back to back. Believe it or not. All right, 29 is the only verse that is purple, and purple stands for the Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. It reads like this. The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. I'm talking about the laws that God gave us long ago. Those laws are more important than the laws created by man. Let me repeat that. I'm talking about the covenants and the commandments, the sanctions and the ordinance given to us long ago by Moses are way more important than the laws created by man. Okay, 29. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may follow all the words of this law. And what laws are these we talking about, America? The laws of God, the covenant of God, the commandments of God, the statutes of God, the ordinances of God. Those are more important than the laws created by man. Period. Try to remember that. Okay? And if your house has been torn down, but your life still exists, you still have a lot of reason to bow your knees and thank God for your life. Okay? All right, that will be all 29 verses of Deuteronomy 29. And I hope that you will consider your ways. I hope that if you are on that wide open Las Vegas road, it will prompt you to get on that small, narrow road, because that is where you will find Jesus. Okay? Thank you very much for listening to us here at Spiritual Water. As always, I am blessed and honored to share the gospel of the Lord with the audience, and I pray that all those that have been affected by this horrific hurricane, tornado, destruction are blessed indeed, and that they are able to receive all the needs that they may have, because there are organizations out there working really hard to provide all kinds of services to them. I just pray that the individuals or organizations providing these services do not make it a hardship for those who have need of this service by not placing themselves right where these individuals can get to them easily. Okay, because people are in desperate need, and they should not have to walk 5, 6, or 8 blocks to get a meal. If you're having breakfast, you ought to set that tent up right in the midst of the people, so that they have a short walk to those eggs and bacon that you're preparing. Okay, and as far as the clothes and donations that people are giving, I pray that this money and all these resources are available to those who have need of them. And for those of you who think that you can take advantage of people when they are down and out, may the curse of God be upon thee. Thank you very much for listening to Brenda Guerrero. As always, it's a pleasure. May the peace of God be upon thee. May the protection of God surround you. And may the will of God for your life come from thee. Until the next time, have a beautiful day.